Okay, folks, so I'm gonna have to think about doing a skip lag trip. And I'm about to explain to you what skip lagging is all about because these airline fares are getting out of control. They're freaking expensive, man. And these airlines are making billions. I think Delta, I think, made something like, I don't even know, it's billions of dollars last year from us and at our expense. So I think I'm gonna do a skip lag vacation. So let me just explain to you what is that all about. So basically, I'm trying to get to Africa. So I'm specifically trying to get to Togo, Lomé. So I've decided to do one-way trips because I'm doing like a tour. So if you look at this, for example, so let me show you this. For example, so I'm gonna book one way to Lomé. What I'm saying, I'm gonna depart on the 26th of October, right? Done. So let's do the search. So we have New York to Lomé on the 26th of October, sorry. So if you look, Egypt, Ethiopian Air has a nonstop flight from Newark that costs $1,222. Just a one-way flight. And the only reason I'm booking a one-way flight because I want to continue on to another destination. I really don't want to come back to the US. I live in the New York City. I live in New York in that area. So I want to keep going through Africa. I want to do a little tour. So I only want to do one-way trips. So this trip right here, 9:45 to 10, it leaves Newark Airport at 9:45 p.m. and it gets to Lomé in Toga 11:50 a.m. And it's a 10-hour flight, non-stop, $1,200. Not bad. I get to West Africa in non-stop. All right. So let's just go further and look at the details. So travel time, Newark, Liberty, travel time 10 hours overnight flight to I can't even say this, whatever way. But it's Togo, it's Lomé. So here where this trip lag comes into play. So keep in mind that this direct flight, which is 9:45 p.m. to 11:50 a.m., is a direct flight. So keep this flight in mind and it's $1,222. So right now I'm going to keep the date, but I'm going to change the destination to Cotonou, which is in Benin, which is actually next door to Togo. You can even drive across the borders. It's very easy to get to. So I'm going to change it to Cotonou and see now this flight comes up from 9:45 p.m. to 3:20 p.m. from Newark to Cotonou, one stop in Lomé, Toga, and it's cost $812. So let's open the flight right here. So you see, it's the same flight leaving from Newark on Ethiopian Airlines. 9:45 and it gets to Togo at 8:15. And then there's a 1 hour 50 minute layover in Lomé that goes to Cotonou. But here's where the skip lagging comes into place. I want to book this ticket for $813 because the other direct flight, which you could actually see is the same flight, was $1,222. That's where these airlines make money. So my plan is to book this flight for $812. That's a $400 savings. You know what you can do with $400 when you get to these places? But I'm going to board this flight so when it lands in Lomé, I'm not going to do the connecting flight. I'm going to leave the airport, come out of the airport when it lands in Lomé. And this is what is called skip lagging. But keep in mind, folks, that if you skip lag, you cannot check a bag because if you book this flight, they're going to check your bag to Cotonou. So you won't have your bags if you come out here. Number two, if you buy a round trip ticket and you do this, they're gonna cancel your return trip. Number three, If you belong to any loyalty programs or anything like that, they could potentially catch up with you. So if you go ahead and book a flight like this, do not go through your loyalty program. Do not try to look for points or anything like that. Just book it as a straight flight. So that basically explains skip lagging. And as you can see, in this case, it's a huge savings. This channel is travel by any means. We got to get to our destinations. We got to see the world by any means necessary. Stay tuned. Later. Hi, folks. So I'm going to explain to you or show you an example of skip lagging. And I'm really actually thinking about doing it because I've never done it before, but these airfares, especially going to the continent of Africa, is freaking expensive, man. And these airlines are making a killing off of us. I think I'm so through with Delta. I think that Delta made like something like 50 billion or 40 billion, some amount of billions last year from air travel. And to be honest with you, all the airlines do it. So, and these high airfares are preventing us from traveling and going to destinations because these airlines are literally like taking advantage of us. So this time around, actually going to try to do a skip lag vacation. So we see how it goes. So let me show you an example of that. So one thing about a skip lag vacation, it has to be a one-way trip. And I'll explain to you later why you have to do that. So I'm trying to get to West Africa. So I'm trying to get to Lomé Lomé, Togo. So let's show you example here. So New York to Lomé, and I'm gonna say leave on the 26th. Okay, done. So New York to Lomé, leave Thursday the 26th. So let's see what comes up. So here this flight, Royal Air Morocco, 27 hours, two stops, $700, crazy. That's 27 hours of flying. Brussels, another two stops, 20 hours of flying, 978. But look at this. They have this Ethiopian airline flight, which leaves Newark at 9:45 p.m. and gets to Lomé at 11:50 a.m. And the good thing about it, it's a non-stop flight, so there's no change in. It's half the time of the connecting flights, which are cheaper. But all is not lost. See this price here, $1,222 for that flight. So hence, that's why this flight is more expensive, the Ethiopian flight, because you're getting there nonstop, where these other flights are doubling the time, and it's that's why it's cheaper. But here, let me explain to you what skip lagging is. So if I book this ticket, and pay attention to the time, 9:45 p.m., and I'm leaving at 11:58. I'm arriving in Lomé at 11:50 a.m. So pay attention to that. This is very important, and the price is $1,222. So right now, I'm going to change I'm leaving from New York naturally because I live in the New York City area. I'm going to change it to Cotonou. Cotonou, which is in Benin. So, which is actually a country that is next door to um, Togo. So, I'm going to put that in. I'm going to leave the same date. Let's see what comes up. Look what we have here. There's a flight that leaves at 9:45 p.m. that arrives in Cotonou. Remember, this is booked to Cotonou at 3:20, one stop. But look where the stop is. Let's open up the flight details. So remember, the same flight from Newark to Lomé was, and I can't even say this airport, what's it? Nasibe Iamdini in Dima International Airport. It's the same flight that was a direct flight when I booked it from New York to Lomé, and it was $1,200. So what is the flight now? $812. So here is where skip lagging comes into play. So as a skip lagger, what you do, my final destination, remember, is Lomé. I'm trying to get to Lomé, Togo. So what I'll do, I'll book this flight, $812 from Newark to Cotonou. But when we land in Lomé at 11:15 a.m., I'm not gonna go to get the flight that's gonna bring me to Cotonou. I'm gonna come out the airport once I land in Lomé. So you see the price difference for the plane, right? Like $1,222 as opposed to 800. So that's a $400 saving. That's a huge savings. You know what you could do when you get to these places with $400? So just keep in this consideration a couple of things. Skip lagging. Airlines do not do it, do not like you to do it. There is even talk that some airlines even try to take people to court. I don't know how true it is. I don't know. But here's a few tips about skip lagging. Number one, you don't want to do a check bag because if you book this flight from Newark to Cotonou, they're going to tag your bags to Cotonou. So when you try to come out here, you won't have your bags because it's really being transferred to the other planes so you could get to Cotonou. Number two, as I said before, you want to book a one-way ticket. If you book a round trip ticket, they're gonna cancel your return ticket. So you don't want to do this if you're booking a round trip ticket. Number three, you do not want to log into your miles account because I, for example, have I think called Shiba Miles. I belong to um, Ethiopian Airlines Miles Club. I belong to a lot of them, but this is one I know I belong to. Don't log into your account and book this flight because then they could track you and potentially hold you accountable and potentially ban you from future flights if they find out that's what you're doing because they don't want you to do that. They want you to pay the $1,200 instead of the $800. That's where they make their money. So again, number one, you want to make sure it's a one-way flight. Number two, you cannot check any bags. And number three, do not log in with your miles account. Log in as a guest, first time traveling. All right, so let's see how it goes. Travel by any means. Stay tuned. Okay, folks, so I'm going to explain skip lagging. Unfortunately, I am thinking about doing it because these fares from the US to Africa are expensive. They're out of control. So I'm actually thinking about doing a booking a skip lag trip. So let me try to explain to you what that is all about. So I'm trying to get to Togo in Africa, which the capital city is Lomé. So let me try to hit that up. So here's the airport, which is Nasibe Iyadima International Airport, LFW. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. I don't know, but this is where I'm trying to get to. So with the skip lag vacation, you have to book a one-way ticket, and I'll explain later. So let me just pick a departure date, say the 26th. So I'm leaving New York and I'm going to Lomé one way on Thursday, August 26th. So let's search for flights. So these flights come up. So there's this Royal Air Morocco flight that comes up and it's 27 hours and it's two stops and it's 747. Naturally, it's the cheapest flight here. Why is it cheapest? Because you have two stops and it's 27 hours. Go down, you're going to see Brussels Airline and United. It's 20 hours. It's still two stops and it's the price a little bit more money. It's $978. But look at this here. We have Ethiopian Airlines, which has a direct flight nonstop, but the only drawback is $1,222. So if you look at this nonstop flight, it's actually like more money because these other flights are longer and have more stops. It's almost like double the time. So that's why this flight is kind of appealing to me. But here's where skip lagging comes into play. So remember, this flight is at 9:45 p.m. and gets to Lomé at 11:50 a.m. the next day plus one, and it's $1,222. So now I'm gonna put Cotonou. Cotonou, which is in Benin, West Africa, which is actually next door to Lomé, Togo. So I'm gonna put that in as my destination. Okay, check. The same departure date, the same departure location. So look what comes up here. There's a flight leaving at 9:45 p.m. and it gets to Cotonou, Benin at 3:20 a.m. It's 12 hours, one stop in Lomé, and it's $812. So let's open the flight details here. You see, this is the same flight. What have you noticed here? This is the same flight that if I booked directly would have been $1,222. And look at the price now, $812. So this is where skip lagging comes into play. I'm gonna book this flight for $812 because it saves me $400. The other booking it direct cost me $1,222. That's a $400 savings. You know what I could do with $400 when I get to these destinations? So what I plan to do is buy this ticket for $812, board the plane in Newark, and when it lands in Lomé, Togo, and we do the transfer thing to go get the flight to Cotonou, I'm not gonna go get this flight. And if you could see, it's a different airline. I think it's called Askai or something like that. So naturally, when you come here, you have to, when you land in Lomé, you have to come off the plane and go to another gate. But this is why it's called skip lagging. I'm going to skip this part of the tour, the trip, the itinerary. I'm going to skip this part, and I'm going to come out the airport here. So just keep in mind, folks, that with skip lagging, there's a couple of rules that you have to follow with skip lagging. In general, airlines do not like skip lagging. They lose money, and I think I've read in the social media or on the news that they always try to take people to court over it. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's even possible if they have the resources to do that, but I don't know. But a couple of things you want to think about when you skip lag. Number one, you always want to book a one-way flight. Because if you book a round trip ticket and you skip lag, meaning that you miss one segment of the trip, they're canceling the entire trip. That's number one. Number two, you do not want to check any bags because if you board the plane, in this case in Newark, and you check a bag, they're tagging the bag all the way to Cotonou. So if you plan on getting out in here, your luggage won't be there. So for skip lagging, you need to just do carry-ons only. All right. Number three, if you belong to the airline's miles club, do not book your ticket through the airline miles club. Book it as a guest. For example, like Ethiopian Airlines has Sheba Miles or Sheba some loyalty program. When I'm booking this flight, I'm not going to log onto my account. I'm going to book this flight as if I'm a guest, first time traveling. Because what they can do, they can track you and see that you skip lag, and they could potentially ban you from flying on their airline. So just to keep that in mind. So the three things I recap. Number one way tickets only. Number two, do not check a bag. Number three, do not log into your loyalty program or airlines account to book these flights. Okay, so that's it in a nutshell, folks. Travel by enemies. We got to see the rest of the world, the whole world, by any means necessary. Stay tuned.